Hi everyone, today we have a new video review, and as you can see, this time we are going to talk about fresh release from Kinetic. Well, it's kind of fresh to me. I'm not sure if you have seen it, but here we have the F-16C Block 5242 US Air Forces in 148 scale. It should be quite an interesting release, and it's a new tool as far as I remember, so for me it was interesting to check it closer, and especially considering the fact that we have not reviewed this kit before, so that's why I bought this kit with your help, with help of your donations, and now we have the chance to take a closer look together. So first of all, I have to say that I'm kind of surprised with the size of this box. Frankly speaking, I was expecting even bigger size, but here you can see comparison with my hand. We have quite nice box art and also this Kinetic gold logo here. Kit number is written there, it's K48102, and the price should be around 50 or 60 US dollars as far as I remember, so quite a reasonable amount for this aircraft, and I would say it's on par with the possible alternatives on the market in the same scale. And we know about which brands I'm talking about, mainly Tamiya, because all of the modelers were actually choosing the Tamiya as the main subject for the F-16. So, we have also here the description of the kit. The length of the model will be 318 millimeters and wingspan will be 190, which is not that big for a 148 scale kit. And the parts count is also here, it's 220 parts. Also not that huge count for the 148 scale aircraft. So here we have also the 3D images and model features. I will take a closer look as well. So we have here positioning flaps and slats. We have the new engraving technology, full detail cockpit, full intake, also MLG and NLG base, and we have the compatibility with the weapon set from Kinetic, and here we have some weapons included, so we will see what is inside. And as for the marking options, we have decals from Cartograph and 3 marking options which are included here. I think they are quite nice, and in case this is not enough for you, nobody stops you from getting some aftermarket. So this is a top opening box, and here is what we have inside. As you can notice, the box is actually filled with the frames. Each of the frames are packed into separate plastic bags, so it will be interesting to check them one by one. And I would like to start with a clear plastic sprue. As far as you can see, it's a resealable plastic bag, so it should be quite easy and quick to open all of the parts. But I need a second to do this on my let's say account here. So first of all, we start with the clear frame. I will zoom in a bit. So here we have the clear parts, and those canopy parts were great. Of course, we will use the single seater element, and the separate parts, they mean that you can open the canopy basically. And if I zoom in here, you can see also some minor parts for the position lights and also some other clear sections on the aircraft. Molding quality looks great. I'm not sure if masks are included here, so in case you are worried about the masks, maybe it would be a good idea to get them from aftermarket manufacturers such as Edward, for example. And next, I'm opening the plastic bag with 2 plastic sprues inside. So here we have quite a smart parts division, I would say. So first of all, we start with this top fuselage section, and as you can see, it is also supplied with the cockpit here, and also we have some sections for the canopy here, which will be installed there as far as I can understand. But for the external features on the fuselage, as you can see, we have nice recessed panel lines and rivets, so everything looks really great. They are not too deep, this is also important to mention, so pay attention to how you will be applying the layers of paint and primer, because it's easy to lose them. And here from the opposite side, you can see also some guiding elements, guiding pins, and also the wing edges, they will serve as a guiding elements as well. Quite smart design. Again, I will repeat myself, but in my opinion, this is something what we expect from the kits in 2023, and this kit is a bit older even, I think, so that's why it might be a bit surprising for some modelers. Next, we continue with something what I was not expecting to see here. So we have the, let's say, main feature of the F-16, the air intake, separated into 2 halves. I'm not sure if it's a great idea, because basically you will get the seam in the middle, but it's also important to check the panel lines. Maybe it's also the same on the real subject, so you just need to join them together and know that this, let's say, frontal section is still a single piece element. here, so maybe it will work this way. And as you remember, manufacturer was listing as the main feature that the air intake is fully detailed. So here you can see some of the parts for the engine nozzles and also for the air intake duct here, which should be assembled out of 2 parts. And here we continue also with more parts for the engine nozzle. And here for some landing gear parts, and again air intake fan here. Maybe it's also worth flipping the sprue over, because here you can see that the air intakes are actually shaped inside and they have nice features and guiding elements. And here we also can see some nice interior features on this. I think these are landing gear wheel bay covers, or maybe it's actually MLG base. I'm not a great specialist in F-16 as you can guess, so feel free to write in the comment section what it is. Next we continue with the even bigger plastic sprues. So I just need a second to open them. Even though it's a resealable plastic bag, it's a bit tricky to open, but we will do this together. And I can see one of the main disappointments for me, but first let's start with a sprue B here. So you can see that we have the lower section of the fuselage molded also as a single piece part. Here of course we'll install the air intake, and here we have also the lower wing sections. That's the top fuselage cover. I guess it is made this way in order to accommodate different versions. And just to show you the external features, so here you can take a closer look at what is actually pre-molded on these parts. In my opinion it looks decent, just like the previous top fuselage cover, but again these are not too deep panel lines, so be careful with this, it will be easy to lose it. And by the way, here you can see also these tiny features for the air brakes, which is also a nice attention to details such as these ones. But as I said, we have also the not great news here. So the nose cone, it should be glued out of 2 halves, and frankly speaking I'm not a huge fan of such solution, especially nowadays. So it's really weird that Kinetic decided to go this way. Maybe there will be some aftermarket which will actually fix it, who knows, but now out of the box you get this and you should work around that. If I zoom in here, you can also see the fuel tank. Also we have some of the minor parts for the landing gear and for the cockpit, and everything looks quite nice. So here I don't have any complaints, and I think for this scale they are really great details out of the box. As you can see, some of them pre-molded, and it's just a matter of picking them out with the brush and also deciding how to paint them. So of course the reference photos, the reference material will matter in this case, because well, these parts should be painted properly. Next I'm opening another plastic bag, and I'm not sure if those are actually the similar sprues. I think not, but here we have the various external armament for this kit, as well as the I can see the landing gear parts, and I can see also the cockpit parts. So I will show them in a second. First of all, we have, for example, these 2 sprues. I will leave the one frame on the table, because here we get the various external equipment, for example these pylons and also tail wings, as well as the landing gear wheels and the pilot seat. Of course the landing gear wheels and pilot seat might be a good candidate for the replacement, especially if you are able to source the aftermarket parts, then definitely go for it, because it will give you a way better looking result. And in this scale it's a noticeable change, so that's why it might be worth investing into such thing. But next we also have the sprue with various containers, as far as you can see here. So again, it's supplied as a part of standard package, it's not some special edition, so definitely a good thing to have in the box. And everything what is required from you is to get those parts together and actually decide on the loadout scheme. And while we are talking about external equipment or weapons, I will move this sprue aside and show you another one which is supplied as a pair of the sprues. Here we have various missiles and pylons again. So if I zoom in, you can see that we have somewhat classic parts design, and some of them are even molded as a single piece part, so it might be worth flipping over this sprue, and you can see that we have guiding elements. But still, again, I think it's worth checking the brassing add-ons from Edward because they offer even more features. And I'm not sure if we actually get the stencils. Yes, we do get them. I'm checking the decals, so if you give me the second, I will pick both decal sheets and show you one by one. So first of all, while we are talking about the equipment, so I will show you the decals for the equipment. Just to remind you, they are printed in cartograph, so you shouldn't be worried about any printing quality issues. And we also get the segmentation here depending on the weapons type, and we also get those chrome decals, as you can see here, these ones. And of course all of these stencils are readable, so that's really cool. And I think they will greatly benefit the overall appearance of your aircraft. But that's not all. We also get the so-called main decal sheet, which is dedicated to the symbols for 3 marking options. We even have some decals for the canopy and also for the cockpit. No seat belts as far as you can see, but well, for the seat belts I would rather resort to PE parts, because in this scale it will be way noticeable that you applied decals instead of PE parts. And maybe even better idea is to use the steel belts from Edward, which are even more convincing in this scale. Next we continue with the black and white assembly manual. So here we have large brochure. Unfortunately it is black and white. I'm not sure why they went this way, because I thought that nowadays nobody resorts to such thing. But we have the parts map, which is somewhat cluttered. It doesn't show which parts are unused. And next we have the assembly process. So everything starts with the cockpit, then we continue with the air intake and also the nose wheel bay, maybe? Or is it the engine section? Because I can see that wheel bay is actually there. We continue also with the engine nozzle. And again, I remind you that maybe it's also a good candidate for upgrade. Next we continue with the top fuselage section assembly. I'm just checking how those panels will be combined together. And then we join all of the fuselage sections together in order to get the fuselage more or less assembled state. Then we install the lower sections of the wings and also nose panels. Here we install the struts for the main wheel bay and also some parts for the engine nozzle area, landing gear legs, nose landing gear leg, and then we continue with the differences for the block 42 and block 52, so pay attention to the marking you choose. Next, here we have landing gear doors, canopy being assembled. That's exactly the parts which I was talking about. As you can see, you have to cut them for the closed version, so you can assemble both open and closed. Nose cone getting assembled out of 2 parts. And as you can see, you can actually open it in order to expose the radar dish, which is quite unusual, I would say, for out-of-the-box feature set. Next we continue with the tail wing, which is assembled out of several panels. Here we have also the, I guess that's the brake parachute, or maybe there is something else, but that's definitely a tail container, so feel free to write in the comment section. I will be happy to learn about this. Next we continue also with the tail wings and wing mechanization. As you remember, we have the flaps in a movable position, so we have the guide how to replicate them up or down. Next we also have the armament assembly. So here everything is quite cluttered, but I guess we should also have the loadout scheme here. So pay attention to this so that you don't get some unusual, I would say, version. And here, by the way, you can see the external stores. Next, we continue with the marking guide for the weaponry, and then we have the marking guide for the marking options. But, well, in black and white, it's almost useless, so I would recommend to find some reference materials, maybe real photos of this aircraft. Stenciling guide here, and 3 empty pages. So overall, I have to say that this is definitely not the ultimate kit for F-16 on the market, but this might be a great option to replicate the more detailed model in 1/48 scale. Now, of course, I will be happy to hear your opinion about such a release. Write it here in the comment section below. And of course, I remind you that you can support us with a small donation, which will help us continue getting such interesting kits. I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and bye.